So I was just curious, can tariffs really bring in the 700 billion that Howard Lutnick and the Trump administration really thinks he can bring in? And also, honestly, because tariffs are new and it's out there, I really did a deep dive. I did before. You guys, if you follow me on my email, you get this. You know I did. Many of you had a really good feedback from me saying, hey, I love that. Where I broke down why we even have tariffs. If you didn't know, obviously we had tariffs and then we decided to implement those lovely things that you pay every time you pay a paycheck, or you get a paycheck, or once or twice a year, every quarter. These things called taxes, federal and state and all that fun stuff. So I did an article about that, how tariffs started, how the tax took over and all that. But what I was really curious about is there's all this fuss, there's all this fighting, there's these tariff wars. What is the big deal? And I wanted to go through some of the facts to see, what is the truth of it? Can it really bring in 700 billion? How much money is it bringing out? How much money are we losing? I guess you keep hearing these numbers like $1.2 trillion is a trade deficit, which basically means we're buying that much, but nobody's buying that much. So we want to balance that out. And obviously one of the big things here is to bring jobs back to the US, create things here in the US, because the big thing is tariffs. We've been buying cheap shit overseas. We like it, whether it's t-shirts, pants, hats, you name it, electronics. We love the cheap, but it's come at a cost. It's come at millions and millions of jobs. It's come at killing small communities and towns throughout America. And really it's starting to cause a big issue because everybody's like, well, why don't we just get labor overseas and knock our profits up? But at the end of the day, we're hollowing out America. Is it true or not? I don't really know about all that stuff, but I wanted to dive in today to see if we can really get to the 700 billion. Because if we did, that's a lot of money to pay for some stuff, maybe bring down taxes. But the biggest thing before we start bringing down taxes, in my opinion, we need to focus on is balance the budget, and to take care of that thing, little thing like $37 trillion of debt we're in. Yeah, we need to bring that down quickly because that is the problem. That's the thing that makes me sweat, keeps me up at night, and most people too that really understand the plumbing and what's going on in this country. So in this video, I wanted to see, could we get to 700 billion? Is this really real? Who in the world pays for it? Because you keep hearing, no, the countries are going to pay for it. No, the businesses. No, they're going to pass it to the people. Who is really picking up the bill for this? And then is this political? Is this hype? Is it real? And today in this video, I'm going to try to break it down as much as I can. Very simple to the point. But by the way, guys, if we've never met, my name is Kenny Simpson. I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. That means if you're buying or refining a 1 to 4 unit property, I can help you out. I've been doing this 20 years, helped over 5,000 clients, funded $1 billion of loans, and I would love to be able to help you. So, hey, if you're first-time home buyer, self-employed, experienced real estate investor, I got you. Reach out to me. I'd love to help you out and answer any questions or maybe do a loan for you. So right now, the federal government, which is kind of shocking, we are only bringing in, ready, $90 billion from tariffs. And here's the kicker. Trump, who came in 2017, because of what he did for some of the countries and China's, actually has helped that number because the Biden administration is like, hey, we like that income. They kept it on. So $90 billion, not chump change, a lot of money. But if we went from 90 billion to 700 billion, 600 billion, 500 billion, it's a lot better, especially if we bring more jobs back here to the US and all that revenue and income and taxes and just help the America dream and people afford to make more money. Isn't that sound lovely? I guess, right? But the $90 billion is actually just a slice of the $4.9 trillion that the federal budget that we bring in tax revenue every year, right? So we bring in 5 trillion and we spend 7 trillion. Not good at all. So also, and you hear all the time, we're talking about we have a 900 billion, a $1 trillion, we have a deficit. So what that means is that we buy way more shit than we sell them shit, if you know what I mean, right? We buy a bunch of crap we probably don't need, and then we just don't sell. So we are selling $1 trillion less. So one of this administration's number one is we're going to bring down the tariffs that you jack on us, and we're going to bring it back to you so we have some balance there. Number 2, you need to start buying some of our stuff, whatever that is. There's a whole list. I'm not going to get into it, but you need to buy our autos, maybe some of our farming stuff, things like that, maybe electronics, data. I don't know, whatever it is. They need to start buying some stuff because we need to make more money. So the Trump administration thinks that they're going to be able to get 10 to 20% on tariffs from all these countries. So here's the kicker. As I'm making this video right now, literally this morning, Trump announced, the administration, that the China tariffs were like 145% and they were at 125 on us. They're in 90-day escalation. So I think it's like 10%, 20%. So looks like across the board, we might achieve 10% tariffs, right? So that's the case. So if we get 10% tariffs across the board and everybody, how much money is that really going to raise? Maybe it's not the 700 billion, maybe it's $500 billion, but it's a lot more than 90 billion. And if we bring jobs and all stuff like that, people start buying our stuff, it can really help us out. So what they're thinking about, why they're doing this, why it's a big deal, is because obviously they're trying to pass a tax bill, which is going to continue to cut taxes, corporates, for people, for this and that. Trump wants to say no tax on Social Security, no tax on tip, no tax on big $150,000, no tax on this, right? And if you want to do that, that's great, but somebody has to pay for that. And the people that are going to pay for that, we're thinking, is all these other countries that we're the biggest buyer. We are the biggest consumer buyer out there, and we want a deal. You're taking advantage of us. You're ripping us off. You're not buying $1 trillion of our goods. So look, you're going to start buying our goods, and we're going to continue to buy your goods, but you're not going to take advantage of, you're not going to rape us, and we're going to get a good deal. So we need to take the 90 billion and bring it up to 600-700 billion so we can do what? Well, we can replace income taxes, we can fund tax cuts, we can support industries. Hey, we can start paying down our frickin' deficit. How about that? That would be a good one, right? So one thing that I want to get clear here, I think there's a misconception, is that other countries, they do not pay tariffs. That is 100% not true. We already talked about in the beginning of this video that China is paying tariffs because Trump put them on. Biden said, I love them, we're making money, keep them on, and that's been rolling down, right? So US imports do pay tariffs. For example, the companies bring in foreign goods and they pass the cost rate to us, the consumer. The $1,000 TV from overseas at 25% tariff, and it costs $1,250. There's a tariff. You are paying it. Trust me, before I made this video, I talked to people to import and do things. We're paying tariffs. It's getting passed to you. Whether you believe it or not, we're paying it, but it's still, I guess, cheaper to buy it overseas than we can make it here, which a lot of people don't agree with. I'm just stating the facts. We are paying them, but we're probably paying too much, and they're not paying on our stuff, so that's why. Like, they don't pay on ours, we pay on them. It's just a big old mess. It needs to get cleaned up, like all this crap in the US, right? In the government, a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of fraud, a lot of waste, a lot of abuse in every sector. We're just going around, cleaning it all up. So basically, at the end of the day, though, when we're paying these tariffs, they are hidden tax. Like, it is true. Somebody has to pay it. The consumer, the buyer, the seller, whatever. Somebody's getting whacked with these taxes, but it is a tax on somebody. And I'm sorry, with these tariffs, and it's a tax, and it's going to cost more money, right? Right? That is real. That is the reality here. So the reason why this administration is so gung-ho about pushing the tariffs, it's not just about rebalancing. It's not just about the $600 billion. It's really about a handful of things that I'm going to knock out real quick and go through, because these are the important things that a lot of us don't think about, don't know about, and honestly, they're not talked about a lot. Number one is protect the U.S. industries from unfair competition. The other thing is, with these tariffs, like other countries, we're negotiating like, hey, you're stealing our intellectual properties. Like China, if you create this, yes, fancy calculator here, and then all of a sudden they just go, oh, you're selling it for $100, they'll replicate it in a few years. Next thing you know, they have another model and they're selling it for $50 undercutting, and you're out of business. This happens all the time, stealing intellectual properties. They're actually bringing, fentanyl. There's a lot of other things they're doing. They're going to be negotiating this that we don't like as consumers. So number one is protect the U.S. industries from unfair competition. Number two, bring back manufacturing jobs. Number three, reduce our reliance on foreign countries. Like, remember when the pandemic hit, we relied on them for medicine, things like that, or different goods, computer chips, certain minerals, medicine. It's just not good. We should be much more self-sufficient. We also want to encourage companies here in the U.S. to invest in the U.S., build in the U.S., not the factories overseas, employ in the U.S., bring jobs, bring the money, bring it here. We cannot keep dealing with $2 trillion in debt, a $37 trillion deficit. We need to make changes. We need to make them now. We need to move fast, because in 5-10 years, trust me, the changes we'll make, you'll wish, you will beg for this time to come back and do this stuff, because what will happen then, there won't be a choice, there won't be money. We will just have to cut things all together and just basically go into like a non-self-destruction mode. And then when we're thinking about tariffs, let's just have a line that says, play fair or pay up. Be nice. We can't get ripped off. We're not going to take advantage of. And there's a lot of layers and complexity to this. It's not that easy, because we've been doing this for 40-50 years and letting everybody just play us, like put a blindfold over us, and they all think we're dumb and stupid, but we're not. So is $700 billion a year realistic? Let's break it down and see if this is. Is this a bunch of BS? Is this really realistic? Is this some far-fetched number? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. People buy fewer goods when prices rise. Other countries retaliate and hurt the U.S. exports. Tariffs shrink company profits, which means less tax revenue elsewhere. And in the past trade wars like China, the government ended up using its revenue to bail out farmers who got hit back. Our U.S. governors, we bailed out the farmers. Some say we'll get lucky to $150 to $200 billion net, right? They just don't think we're going to get $700 billion. It's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. But hey, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can negotiate and make it happen or get close to that number or half the number. But let's not ignore the true facts in the big picture here. We lose over $900 billion a year in trade imbalances. We've lost actually 5 million good paying jobs. We become dependent on foreign supply chains for medicine, semiconductors, even energy. So the goal of tariffs isn't just about money, it's about long-term strategy, bringing balance back to our economy. Tariffs can be powerful, but they're not magic. If we can use it the right way, if we can raise the revenue, become closer with our, everybody out there, make it a win-win for both, we can have a shot at this. But at the end of the day, I will tell you this, and I tell everybody, it is about tariffs, about all this stuff, but really what it's about, guys, coming down to is we have to take a boom, hit the reset. We're $2 trillion in the hole every year. We're $37 trillion in debt. We have to look at everything we do at this point. You got to go through entitlements. You got to do social, Medicare, the government, everything. That's why they call it Doge. We need to Doge everything, tariffs everything, and try to figure out where can we make more money, where can we cut costs, and where we can bring down costs and then get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Because at the end of the day, guys, we cannot keep going at this pace. It's unsustainable. It's really bad. So if it's tariffs, if it's jobs, if it's the government's overloaded, if it's debt, if it's overspending, waste, fraud, whatever it is, we got to look at all. We got to cut it. Just like if you have a business or you got a household, somebody loses their job in the household, that's it. We're running lean and mean. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We have to make cuts, and tariffs is just one of the strategies that we can do to help generate more revenue, not cost ourselves money, make sure we're having fair trade, fair balances with people, and more of an even playing. But at the end of the day, I think something's going to get done. I hope it's helpful. I hope it generates money, and I hope it's much more beneficial than we have now, but we have to try things. And so I wanted to come on here and make a video about this and just kind of dive in to the things we do. And there's so much more to this, but $900 trillion a year and trade imbalances. Even if we could generate $300, $400, $500 billion of revenue, it's a lot better than 90. If we can bring more jobs back here, if we can bring investment back in the U.S., we create more jobs, that's more revenue, that's more tax dollars. That helps people pay their rent, jobs, mortgages, cost of living. It'd be a beautiful thing. Thanks for watching, guys. Hey, please share this with somebody, and I'd love to hear any feedback from you guys. Talk soon.